Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge into some really fascinating topics and pull out the most important bits of knowledge just for you.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're kind of venturing into the shadows, history, the unexplained. We're looking at the allure of mysteries that just haven't been solved for decades, sometimes even centuries.
That's a great topic.
What is it about these puzzles, these riddles, that just keeps grabbing our imagination, even when, let's be honest, we know we'll probably never get a concrete answer?
Well, that's an excellent question, I think. Maybe the power is in the uncertainty. We might never know the true answers, right? But we're drawn to those gaps in what we know. We feel like compelled to guess, to hypothesize, discuss the possibilities.
Right, fill in the blanks.
Exactly. It's about exploring the edges of what we can know. And that in itself is really captivating.
I think you really hit on something there. It shows how much we project our own need for answers onto these old stories, doesn't it? It's hard to resist. So for our deep dive today, we're working from this really interesting list called 10 Creepy Old Mysteries We Will Probably Never Solve.
Okay.
And as you'll hear, the big challenge with a lot of these is just their age.
Yeah. Time is the enemy of evidence.
Totally. They happen too far back for, proper investigation. You can't interview witnesses. Forensic evidence is long gone. It's just impossible. But let's kick things off with one that's relatively modern, but still casts this really long, creepy shadow over a small town.
Okay, I think I know the one you mean.
Number 10 on the list, the Circleville Letters. This was back in 1977.
Right, Ohio.
Yep. It starts in the summer. A woman in Circleville gets this anonymous letter.
Just out of the blue.
Totally out of the blue. And it brazenly reveals she's having an affair with the local school superintendent.
Wow.
And it even mentions her kids. So clearly whoever wrote it was watching her. New details.
That's deeply unsettling. Someone close, maybe, or just watching very carefully.
Exactly.
Yep.
But then it escalates really fast. Weeks later, the writer sends letters directly to her husband.
Oh, no.
Yeah, basically goading him, trying to push him towards violence.
That's calculated cruelty.
And tragically, it worked, in a way. After another letter arrived a couple of weeks later, the husband, apparently enraged, grabbed a gun.
Oh, dear.
Told people he was going to confront the guy he assumed was writing the letters. He jumped in his car and died in a terrible one-car accident rushing there.
Awful. Just awful. But the letters didn't stop there, did they? That's the really chilling part.
No, that's what's truly astonishing. For nearly 2 decades after his death, the letters kept coming.
2 decades?
Yeah. And not just to the woman. Dozens of people in Circleville started getting them.
The whole town was being targeted.
Seems like it. And these letters had shockingly personal information, stuff nobody should know, wild accusations, even violent threats.
And the police? Nothing.
They could never figure out who was behind it or why. It just completely turned the town upside down. It's
this incredible example of psychological terror, isn't it? Wielded by someone anonymous, potentially for years and years. That lack of closure must have just eaten away at people.
That sustained pressure.
Yeah.
Incredibly disturbing. And speaking of disturbing and unexplained, let's move to number 9. This one is genuinely bizarre. The lead masks case from 1966.
Ah, yes, Brazil. This one is strange on multiple levels.
So August 20th, 1966. A kid is flying a kite on this remote hill outside Rio de Janeiro. It's hard to get to.
Right. The terrain was apparently quite treacherous.
Yeah, so authorities couldn't even reach the spot until the next day. Oh. And when they get there, they find 2 bodies.
2 men.
Right. Later identified as electronic technicians, Manuel Pereira da Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana. They're lying next to each other, sort of partially covered by grass.
Okay.
And get this, each one is wearing a formal suit, a waterproof coat, and a lead eye mask.
Lead eye mask, like homemade.
Apparently. And next to them,
yeah,
an empty water bottle, a packet with 2 wet towels, and this small notebook.
And the notebook had the really weird instructions, right?
Exactly. Timed instructions, it said. 16.30, be at the specified location. 18.3, ingest capsules. After the effect, protect metals, await signal mask.
Capsules. Protect metals. Await signal. I mean, what does that even mean?
Nobody knows. It's just so cryptic.
And the real kicker here, the reason it's probably forever unsolved, is what happened next, or rather, what didn't happen.
Right, the autopsy.
Yeah. The coroner's office in Rio was just slammed, apparently. Yeah. Totally backed up.
So the bodies just sat there.
For days. By the time they got around to the autopsy, the organs were too decomposed to tell if they'd ingested anything.
Ah, so the capsules part could never be confirmed.
Exactly. That crucial piece of the puzzle, potentially explaining why they died, was lost because of that delay. A few days pass, and boom, the case is basically sealed as a permanent mystery.
Wow. Just timing and circumstance locking it away forever. Okay, let's jump way back in time now from modern Brazil to medieval England. Number 8, the Green Children of Woolpit.
Ah, this is a classic folklore mystery. Dates back to the 1100s.
Right, mid-12th century reign of King Stephen. In this tiny village, Woolpit, in Suffolk. The story goes that 2 kids just appeared, a boy and a girl. But their skin was green.
Green tinted, yeah. And they spoke a language no one understood.
And apparently, they wouldn't eat anything except raw broad beans at first, which is odd.
Very odd. What happened to them?
Well, the story says the boy died pretty soon after they were found. But the girl, she recovered. Her green skin faded, she learned English, got baptized.
And she told them where she came from?
Sort of. She apparently described this place called St. Martin's Land. So the sun never shone there, it was always twilight, and everything was green.
Sounds almost like another dimension or something out of a fairy tale.
Totally. It has that almost mythical quality.
And that's the heart of the problem with solving it, isn't it? When you're dealing with something nearly 1,000 years old, the accounts are going to be unreliable. They get passed down, embellished, mixed with local beliefs and folklore. Even nailing down the exact year is tricky, though it's generally placed in Stephen's reign.
So basically, we have a fascinating story, but zero chance of verifying any of it.
Pretty much. The sheer distance in time just creates an unbridgeable gap. It's a legend, a captivating one, but likely to remain just that.
It seems like a lot of these mysteries involve people just vanishing.
That's definitely a recurring theme, disappearing without a trace.
Which brings us nicely to number 7, the Mary Celeste, 1872.
Ah, the classic ghost ship.
Exactly. December 4th, 1872. The Mary Celeste, an American merchant ship, is found adrift in the Atlantic, off the Azores.
It was on its way from New York to Genoa, right? Carrying alcohol.
Yep, valuable cargo. But when another ship finds it, eerily empty.
No sign of the crew.
None. But here's the really weird part. Everything else seemed fine. The alcohol cargo was mostly untouched, plenty of food and water. The crew's personal belongings were still there.
As if they just stepped off for a moment.
Right. But the ship's lifeboat was missing, and the last log entry was 10 days earlier. The ship itself, perfectly seaworthy, even had some sails up.
So not a storm, probably. No signs of violence or piracy.
Apparently not. The ship was in good condition. That's the core of the mystery. Why abandon a perfectly good ship in the middle of the ocean?
And that's why it's endured. You've got all these theories: mutiny, pirates, insurance scam, some kind of sudden natural event like a waterspout or seaquake, maybe even fumes from the alcohol cargo.
But none of them quite fit all the facts, do they?
Not perfectly. There's always something that doesn't add up. And without the crew, without any definitive clue about why they got into that lifeboat, it just remains this iconic maritime mystery. What were those final moments like? We'll likely never know.
From one unsettling disappearance at sea to another, this time involving the lighthouse. Number 6, the Flannan Isles Lighthouse Mystery. This is 1900.
Scotland. A very remote location.
Extremely remote. So December 15th, 1900, a passing steamship notices the lighthouse on the Flannan Isles isn't lit. During a storm, no less.
Not good. That's its whole purpose.
Exactly. So a relief ship is sent out. It arrives on December 26th, Boxing Day. They're expecting to find the 3 lighthouse keepers: James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur.
But they weren't there.
No. And the scene was unsettling. The lighthouse flag wasn't flying, provision boxes hadn't been restocked, the main entrance gate was closed.
Inside.
Beds unmade, the clock in the rest area had stopped. But here's the really chilling detail for me. The lamps. They'd been cleaned and refilled with oil. Ready to go.
But not lit. And the keepers were gone?
Vanished. No sign of them anywhere. No bodies ever found.
It's that contrast, isn't it? The meticulous preparation, cleaning the lamps, filling them, suggesting routine, duty.
Yeah, like they were about to light them.
And then nothing, just empty space where 3 men should be. The theories range from, a rogue wave sweeping them away while they were securing equipment outside.
Plausible, given the storm.
Plausible, but unproven. Others suggested they somehow started a new life, which seems highly improbable from such a remote spot.
Right.
Ultimately, like the Mary Celeste, their whereabouts, the exact sequence of events, completely unknown. Just an empty lighthouse, standing silent.
Okay, let's shift gears from the sea to, well, something that looks like it fell from the sky, maybe. Number 5, the Potomsky Crater.
Ah, Siberia. Discovered in 1949.
Yeah, by a Russian geologist, Vadim Kolpakov. He's out near Lake Baikal, southeastern Siberia, and finds this thing.
And it's massive, right? And it's weird looking.
Totally. It's this huge mound made of shattered limestone blocks.
Yeah.
The base is over 500 feet across. It's got these, like, offshoots over 40 feet high.
And that central cone.
Yeah, cone inside with a ring-shaped crown almost as tall as the outer walls. The sheer scale is nuts. Over 8 million cubic feet inside. Weighs maybe 1 million tons.
It just looks so artificial almost, completely out of place in that landscape.
Yeah, just so unbelievably out of place.
And scientifically, it's a real head-scratcher. It doesn't neatly fit our models for how geological features form.
So what are the theories? Meteorite.
That's the leading one, yeah. A very unusual type of impact, maybe. Others suggest some kind of volcanic activity, or maybe a strange release of natural gas from deep underground.
What about Tunguska? That wasn't that far away, relatively speaking.
People definitely try to connect it, but the timing's off. The crater's estimated to be much older, maybe around 300 years old, based on tree growth nearby.
Whereas Tunguska was 1908.
Right, so when the crater was found in 49, Tunguska was only about 40 years past. The age difference is a problem for that theory.
So despite scientists looking at it, still no definitive answer.
Nope. It remains one of those persistent geological enigmas. You can describe it, measure it, but explaining how it got there, still up for debate.
Okay, back to disappearances, and this one is another famous, tragic one. Number 4, the disappearance of Flight 19, 1945.
The Bermuda Triangle connection often comes up here, though the reality is probably more mundane, if equally tragic.
So, December 5th, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers, Flight 19. They take off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
A routine training mission over water.
Right. But somewhere out there, the flight leader, the main navigator, gets disoriented, loses track of where they are, how to get back.
Compasses might have malfunctioned, visibility issues. It's debated.
Whatever the cause, tragically, the planes were never seen again. All 14 men on board, lost.
And the story gets even worse.
It does. They send out a search and rescue plane, a Martin PBM Mariner flying boat.
Big plane carried a crew of 13.
And it disappeared, too. Vanished while searching for Flight 19.
Just gone. 2 separate incidents, hours apart, involving multiple aircraft and 27 lives.
It's staggering. You have to imagine the horror for that second crew searching for the first.
And the theories are all over the place, right? Bermuda Triangle, as you mentioned, even aliens for some fringe folks.
Yeah, the usual suspects for unexplained disappearances in that area.
But the more, let's say, grounded theory focuses on the flight leader, Lieutenant Taylor. He was apparently experienced, but maybe his compass did fail, and he tragically mistook some islands he saw for the Florida Keys.
Leading them further out to sea instead of back inland.
Potentially, yes. As for the PBM Mariner, the Navy's official belief leaned towards a mid-air explosion. Those planes were known sometimes to have issues with fuel vapor buildup.
But still, no wreckage for any of the 6 planes.
Nothing. Not a single piece of debris, no remains ever definitively recovered. That complete lack of physical evidence is what keeps it a mystery. How could so much just vanish? It really underscores the vastness of the ocean and perhaps the fallibility of technology and human navigation back then.
Okay, now for something totally different. Less tragic, more bizarre and kind of audacious. Number 3, the Max Headroom broadcast signal intrusion, 1987.
Oh, this is a legendary piece of broadcast hacking history.
Yeah.
Chicago.
November 22nd, 1987, someone, identity unknown, hijacks 2 TV signals in Chicago.
2 separate stations.
Yep. First, it's WGN-TV during their 90 BPM news. Suddenly, the screen flickers, and there's this guy wearing a Max Headroom mask.
That creepy, glitchy AI character from the 80s.
Exactly. He's just swaying back and forth in front of this corrugated metal background, and there's this loud buzzing sound. It only lasted about 17 seconds before the engineers at WGN cut it off.
Quick reaction, but it happened again.
Oh, yeah. About 2 hours later, during an episode of Doctor Who on WTTW, the local PBS station, bam, he's back.
And this time, it was longer, right?
Much longer. Over 90 seconds. And this time, the masked figure is talking, making these weird references. New Coke, the old cartoon clutch cargo, a local sportscaster.
Just rambling nonsense.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then, okay, get this. Someone, seemingly a woman off screen, spanks his bare backside with a fly swatter.
What? Seriously?
Seriously. Well, he's yelling something like, "They're coming to get me." And then the hijackers just ended the transmission themselves.
That is absolutely wild. Just pure anarchic weirdness.
Quite a spectacle. And totally baffling for anyone watching live.
And the fallout. They never found out who did it.
Never. The FCC investigated, but the trail went cold. Who were they? What was the point? Was it just a prank? A statement? We have no idea.
And that's what's fascinating, right? Nearly 40 years later, it's still a complete blank. It was this really early, very public demonstration of how vulnerable broadcast signals could be.
A precursor to internet hacking, in a way.
Kind of, yeah. It definitely worried the networks. If someone could do this for a bizarre prank, what else could they interrupt broadcasts for? More nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
Luckily, it remained a uniquely weird, isolated incident.
Okay, our second to last mystery takes us way back again, and it's another case of mass disappearance. Number 2, the lost colony of Greenland.
The Norse settlement, a really significant historical puzzle.
So we know Norse people, Vikings basically, settled in Greenland around the 10th century.
And they survived there for a surprisingly long time, about 500 years.
Which is amazing considering the environment. But then sometime in the late 15th century, they just vanished.
The entire colony, gone.
Yeah. And the accounts, or rather the archaeological evidence, suggests they left behind supplies, tools, almost like they just evaporated into thin air.
It wasn't like the sites were sacked or destroyed.
That's the really bizarre part. The archaeology doesn't show signs of a violent end, like raids by, say, the local Inuit populations. Things weren't trashed. It seems more orderly.
So what are the theories then, if not violence?
Well, there are lots. Climate change is a big one. Maybe the Little Ice Age made farming impossible.
Resource depletion, perhaps. Or losing contact and support from Norway.
That's another possibility. Maybe they just couldn't sustain themselves anymore without outside help. There's even a theory linked to the plague in Europe.
How?
The idea is that the Black Death had devastated Iceland and Norway earlier, opening up better land back there, maybe tempting the Greenland colonists to just pack up and go home, or somewhere better.
So a voluntary organized departure.
It seems possible, given the state of the settlements found later, but it's still just a theory. Why leave everything in such an orderly way? Where did they go? Did they make it? After centuries, we just don't know. It's a massive question mark over a whole chapter of exploration history.
It really connects to those bigger questions about societal collapse, adaptation, and why entire communities sometimes just cease to be.
Absolutely. Okay, we've reached number 1 on the list.
Yep.
And this one. This one is truly one of the strangest things involving human behavior ever recorded.
Yeah.
The Dancing Plague of 1518.
Strasbourg. Yes, this is profoundly weird.
It starts in July 1518 in Strasbourg, which was then part of the Holy Roman Empire, now in France. A woman, known as Frau Sophie, steps into the street and just starts dancing.
Uncontrollably.
Apparently so. No music, just dancing.
For days on end.
Days, by herself.
At first, yes.
But then other people started joining her.
Like spontaneously?
Seemingly. Within about a week, there were dozens dancing. It turned into this mass hysterical event. Estimates vary, but some accounts say anywhere from 50 to maybe 400 people were caught up in it.
400 people dancing uncontrollably in the streets. For how long?
For weeks. Some sources say it lasted into August or even September. People were just dancing until they collapsed from exhaustion.
That's hard to even picture. What on earth could cause that?
Well, that's the mystery. The most common explanation today is mass psychogenic illness or mass hysteria.
Brought on by stress.
Probably. Life back then was incredibly harsh. There was famine, disease, syphilis was rampant, lots of poverty and superstition. Maybe the extreme stress just manifested in this bizarre physical way.
Are there other theories?
Yeah, some suggest ergotism. That's poisoning from a fungus that can grow on damp rye bread. Ergot can cause spasms and hallucinations.
Like LSD, essentially. Could that explain the dancing?
It's possible, but historians debate whether the symptoms quite match. Ergot poisoning usually causes seizures, not coordinated dancing for weeks. Plus, it wouldn't explain why so many people were affected simultaneously.
Yeah.
There were also religious interpretations at the time, of course.
Divine punishment or possession.
Things like that. And some historical documents actually claim that dozens, maybe even hundreds, died from strokes, heart attacks, or just pure exhaustion.
Died from dancing.
Seems unbelievable. But that's what some sources suggest. So while it was likely some form of mass psychosis, maybe triggered by a perfect storm of stress, malnutrition, and belief, the exact trigger, the precise mechanism, we'll probably never know for sure.
It really makes you think about the extremes of human psychology and how societies under pressure can react in ways we can barely comprehend today.
Absolutely. What an incredible, strange collection of mysteries we've looked at. From those letters in Circleville and the lead mask, to ghost ships, lost colonies, vanished planes, bizarre intrusions, and even dancing plagues.
A real tour of the unknown.
It really highlights how these old mysteries, just because of time and the lack of evidence, they're likely to stay unsolved.
That's almost their defining characteristic.
But like we said in the start, maybe that's why they keep fascinating us, right?
Yeah.
There's still that joy in exploring the questions, sharing the stories, even if the answers stay hidden.
Exactly. And you know, what's truly fascinating here, perhaps, isn't just speculating about what happened in each case. It's thinking about what these persistent mysteries reveal about us, about the limits of our knowledge, our investigative tools, especially looking back through time, and maybe also about the enduring power of the unknown in our imagination. What do you think these stories really tell us about our own deep-seated need for answers, even when the past stubbornly refuses to give them up?